All right, I've got everything cleaned up here. Ready to put the liners in. It's finally liner day. A little dark, but what I've done, I've had the liner and the liners, all four of them, in the freezer overnight, so they're good and cold. I can only put two of them in the box at a time with the ice, so I'm going to make two runs here. So they should be good and cold. Help put them in. I'm going to put the ring. I'm going to go ahead and put the gaskets on them. A little bit of soap, and we're gonna press them in. My understanding from all the people who've done this before with liners, that if you freeze them before you put them in, they drop in an awful lot easier than if you try and do them warm. So we're gonna do it using that method. All right, so let me get these out and get the rings. Let me get the gaskets on them. All right, I got the first two in. Got my block of wood driving them in. They do protrude up a bit. This one's protruding a little bit more than this one. I have been wailing on that thing, and I can't get that one to seat anymore. I hope it's okay. So I'm going to put the back two in. Oh, and by the way, with this little protrusion, per the manual, that it says with the uncompressed seals that's normal. But they don't give you a measurement for how much is normal. So we're just going to keep going and hope. One thing to be, so I'm doing this to be careful of. I might set my tripod up and I'll try and video the second two going in. I did have a little accident with my hammer. I tried a rubber hammer, which is what I wanted to use, but that wouldn't get it done. So I had to go get the 2-pound. Unfortunately, I dinged my block right here. I think it's out far enough it won't matter. I'm not happy about that. I think it's outside where the gasket's going to be sealing. But I will probably fill that with something. It bounced off the block and onto there. I'm really unhappy about it, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to put the back two in. I'll put the tripod up. Maybe you can watch me struggle with it. The freezing method doesn't seem to have helped at all. I thought that would make it easier. That's what I was told. I was told they would just drop right in. Well, they don't. They seat down to where the gaskets touch, and then it's according to the manual, lightly tap with a hammer on a block of wood to seat them. And well, I'm doing a lot more than lightly tapping to get them to go in there. They don't want to move. But I'm getting it done. Hopefully they don't leak. All right, let me go get this set up. All right, in case somebody's wondering, I am going to pre-lube these up with soap real good before I try and put them in. They are cold, let's say that. Okay, that's the easy part. Now for the hard part. They don't seem to... The idea of gently tapping, you have to hit these pretty hard. Better than some of the other ones. This one just does not want to go down any further. I'd say that one's gone as far as the front. This is definitely protruding a little more than the other ones. Get that one to seat any further. This one just doesn't want to seat any further than where it is. Guess I'll have to do. All right, let's get the last one. All right, well, I knew something felt wrong with that liner, so I went ahead and pulled it back out, and sure enough, that was the one no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to seat right. The other three seem to, and as you can see, I have a problem there. I don't know if that was in there, and if it was in there, I don't know where it came from, because I cleaned all that out and scraped it all really good. So I think it maybe is just a part of the new, unfortunately the new ones. I don't know if the video will show it, but there you can see that this is kind of torn up. So I pulled it. I'm glad I pulled it back out, and these were all wacky when I pulled them out. So I'm going to order some new O-rings. So I'm kind of delayed until that gets done. So that'll be tomorrow's process. So I need to get that for that liner. The other three are in. They seem to all be seated evenly, so I'm not too concerned with those. It was just this one that was really giving me all kinds of grief. Just would not seat. So the other three they're all protruding a tiny bit, but they're all even. And this is the one that was sticking up, and I think it's because I had a gasket got rolled. So new O-rings. Hopefully they can get them to me fairly quick. They've been pretty slow to get anything to me, but I'll see what I can do tomorrow. All right, that's it for today. Okay, here we go. See how my alignment is. All right, so I've already put in one cylinder, and I'm working toward the back. Got my liners bolted down, the two that I'm working on. I'm waiting on some O-rings. I had troubles with that one, so I ended up having to get new O-rings. I'll bolt this down when that comes. I'll probably put this cylinder in, and then I'll bolt it. Then we'll finally drive in that last one when I get it. I pulled that liner back out because it was just wouldn't seat, and I found that unfortunately the O-rings had gotten pinched going in, and that was why it wouldn't seat, so I pulled it back out. So they should be here in another day or so. In the meantime, I'm going to put the other three pistons in. I put number, I don't know if it's 1, 2, 3, it's either 2 or 3 depending on where you count from. I think that's number 1. That makes this number 3. I did plastic gauge it and check it. My 10 over bearings are correct. it was within 2 thousandths, maybe 1.5 thousandths. So that was the correct bearing. The tolerance was good, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in, torque the new rod bolts to 70 foot-pounds. That's what it calls for in the manual. So you can see I've gone ahead. I was soaking the top of the piston in oil, my little oil bath, and then you can see I'm putting assembly grease on everything. So I'll go under there, make sure that's lined up, rotate the engine a little bit, and go to 70 foot-pounds, and then we'll do the next one. Okay, let's move on here. Actually, I guess I may as well show you while I have my camera out. Just checking the alignment as this comes down to make sure it's going to go where it belongs, and it is. It's going to line right up on here. And then I'll rotate the engine just a little bit so that I have the correct spot where I can get on here with the wrench, and we'll torque everything down the way it's supposed to be. You can see that one's on already. This is either number 2 or number 3 depending on your count, and then number 1 around the back. All right, I made an executive decision here. You can see I'm driving down my piston. I'm making sure it lines up. I've already got my assembly grease on it. I decided to leave the mains alone. It's not my everyday machine, and the bearings looked okay that I took off for the connecting rods. So I'm going to leave the mains alone. I tried getting one of these caps off. I was gonna plastic gauge it and check the clearances, but man, were they on there. And I decided I'd just leave well enough alone before I broke a head bolt, broke a head off a bolt or something else that would really make my day miserable. So I left well enough alone. There's no play. I tried to move this crank. It doesn't really have any play in it, and it wasn't burning any oil, and there was no metals in the oil pan. So I don't think I have anything to worry about. The main reason I decided not to mess with the mains is in order to get to the front main bearing, you've got to take this oil pump off. There's no way to get to that cap bolt without this thing being off of there. And the tube, I guess, over here, it doesn't just pull out. I think it's bolted up in the top, and you've got to take the whole front gear train off and take the oil relief off and everything else to get this pump out of here. So I had really good oil pressure, no metals in the pan, anything. So I'm just going to leave well enough alone. Just get the sleeves in, get the new rod bearings in, and just let it be, and get this thing back in operation. All right, so let me go finish putting this in and get that torque down.